a great coach, a great leader will let everybody know that if you buy into it, it will work. You may not always win, but you'll understand how to get along with people, how to lead people, and how to make adjustments when you need to. So that's another characteristic, I think, of a great teacher, leader, coach.
Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it.
Today we are joined by the Executive Director of the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches, Johnnie Carter. He served as the Assistant Director the previous 7 years. Prior to coming to TABC, Coach Carter was the Director of Athletic Services for the Aldine ISD for 7 years. The previous 26 years, he was a successful head basketball coach, winning over 500 games, including numerous state playoff appearances, with 4 regional tournaments and 1 regional finals. He was named the Coach of the Year on multiple occasions. He has been inducted in the Texas High School Basketball Hall of Fame, the East Texas Baptist University Athletics Hall of Fame, the Houston Area Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame, and the National High School Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Honor. Before we hear from Coach, take a moment to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media at JAMODI Podcast.
Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Scoreboard Media. Scoreboard Media works with high schools across the country to run professional sponsorship programs on their LED scoreboards. Whether you already have LED and you just want to supercharge the revenue, or you want to use sponsorship revenue to buy new LED video scoreboards, Scoreboard Media can help. They work with sponsors and advertisers locally, regionally, and nationally who want to connect with your school's community. Email info@scoreboardmedia.com to start the conversation and see what's possible.
All right. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm great. How about you?
Oh, I'm great. Always.
Yeah. Man, thank you so much for giving up your time, coming on here talking hoops with me. This is an honor.
Oh, it's an honor for me.
I appreciate that, and also appreciate the humility that you have of it's not that you were hesitant to come on, but acknowledging that you retired a few years ago, and then there's other coaches that you think, but I'm telling you, as far as I'm concerned, you're one of those guys that I would love to get to learn from and talk to. I mean, 36 years of education, over 500 wins, Coach of the Year awards, Texas Hall of Fame, and now your involvement with TABC. I mean, Coach, you're exactly who I love to get to have these hoops talk with.
Well, great. Thank you for the kind words. I don't know if they're deserved or not, but thanks anyway.
I don't know how with the accolades I just listed off, how you could still say, I don't know if they're deserved, but I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right. Well, first question I'd love to ask you is, after your experience as a coach, but also at TABC and getting to be around so many great leaders, what are some characteristics that you think makes up a great coach?
Okay. Number one, I think, Matt, is a great coach. Number one will be a great leader, a great teacher. And I think it's very important that they teach the game the right way. And of all the great coaches that I coached against, coached with, I think that was the primary thing that I found most important to get from them, was to be a great teacher of the game.
Who are some of those great teachers that you've noticed? Like when you're at TABC and you see coaches out on the floor demonstrating, doing some things, who are just some on your list that you've been like, man, they blew me away, like the way that they taught it?
There are so many, Matt. I would hate to single out someone, because in doing so, I would leave out a lot of other great coaches. So I would just say that it has been my honor to listen to a lot of great coaches, to watch them, how they work. I went to a lot of their practices. You know, we always had TABC and great speakers. And back in my day, you know, you had a lot of videos and things, and I almost said a coach's name, but I won't do it. But those were some of the ones, and those were some of the characteristics I look for.
So being a great leader, being a great teacher,
being professional in all aspects, You know, now things have changed a little bit. I believe that coaches should always look the part. You know, you had your practice gear and you had your coaching gear, in my opinion. I always believed that a coat and tie, because we wanted the kids to know that we took this seriously.
Yeah.
And now, you know, I'm not saying whether it's good or bad, but now it's more of a leisurely feel. And so I've had to try to wrap my hands around that. And it doesn't deter from them being great coaches. It's just a thing that the way I was taught and the way I was brought up, that you always put on that air that you are in charge and that this is really serious to you.
Man, that's a great point. And I know from that really all came from COVID. Is I think everybody we're going to dress up pretty sharp, especially at the NBA and college level. Maybe there's some high school coaches, like me and Wes Watson at McKinney High School, we were doing polos and khakis or pants or something like that, even before COVID. But after that, there was a major shift and I thought, Coach, that after a year or two that everybody would go back to Buzz Williams is still wearing a three-piece suit. Yeah. I thought that we'd go back to that, but majority of people haven't. What's the friction with all coaches have to go through or feel between maybe how they were taught, what their high school coaches did, or the longer you're in the profession, maybe what you were doing a decade or two ago, but then all of a sudden the trends are changing. Coach, how do you decide what you keep going with or what you say, okay, times are different now, I'm going to make this adjustment?
Well, it's according to what you believe in. If you think what you were doing was the correct thing to do, then you continue it. If you feel like the changes that are taking place are worth it and you want to try to fit in with the times, then you do that. But I think a lot of it now, like you said, it started during COVID, but I think coaches feel more relaxed now in that attire, and, you know, the younger coaches. And now it's just gone all over the country at all levels, you know. And so I don't hate it. I regret it a little bit, but, you know, times do change.
Coach, there's been so many areas like that for me, whether it's team shoes. Part of me would love for them to all be in team shoes, but then years ago, my best player at Faith, who is a really good kid, came up and said, Coach, that brand of shoe, it really hurts my feet. And I'm thinking, okay, this guy averages 28 points a game, and he's a great kid, awesome student. He was salutatorian of our school and never missed a workout, like Coach, just the dream. And he's not a whiner or a wuss or entitled. And he's coming up and saying, these shoes hurt my feet. I had to figure out how important are these team shoes to me at this point. So I had to adjust there. But I think handshakes in lines, I still don't do them. But why? Like, what's the reason behind that? Is because I want it to appear like we're serious? Is there part of that I think is making us more like a joke than, because I never had a team that I never did handshakes. I just don't know what it is about some of those things that makes me hold back. But then others, like I had to change.
See, I always believed in handshakes. I think they're good. I think they should be a part of the game because I really believe in sportsmanship.
Coach, let me jump in real quick. I meant the pregame warm up in the, when they come out from the starting lineups and there's a guy at the end and they do all the fancy handshakes and things.
No,
Coach,
I
post-game handshakes, we for sure are shaking the it's hand. So I'm with you there. But
I misunderstood what you said.
That's my fault. I did just say handshakes, but it's that warm-up handshake routine ritual that they do with their teammates that I watch other teams do. I'm like, man, I don't want to do that, but my players want to. They asked me this morning about it.
Well, I was always against that, and about the only thing we would do, Matt, we may have one kid at the end that they would just slap a high five and go on, But all this shaking and gyrating and,
I mean, they practice for hours.
But they see a lot of that on television.
No doubt.
And I think it trickles down. But no, I was always against that. I didn't want to do anything to show up the other team or present the idea that we're somehow invincible or cocky, something of that nature. And so that's why I was always against that. I always thought that the scoreboard was your celebration.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, all of these changes or decisions we have to make on whether or not we go with the times or stick to what we've been doing, and you kind of nailed it. I think it comes down to identity. You got to know yourself, and you got to know within my beliefs, does this take me too far outside of them? Like the team shoes, it doesn't affect me at all now, Coach, to have our guys all wearing different brands, but the shoe has to be mainly white with the secondary colors being red, navy, or gray, which is our school colors. So from the camera, it looks like we're all wearing the same shoes or very small differences. But I think that's a way if we're always withdrawing from players, taking, maybe that's a way we can deposit back is, all right, you guys get this. So as coaches, figure out ways that you can give up control of things you really don't care about, but then know yourself well enough to still hold on to some of those things.
Yeah, but some of that, Matt, you may not care about it, but it's good for your program. Say you got your varsity team, everybody's in different shoes. What are those freshmen going to think? What are those middle schoolers going to think? I always felt like that was a part of your program. And the unifying aspect of it was that we're all going to look alike. We're all going to play hard. We're all going to get after it. So in today's world, it's about individuality a lot of time, and everybody wants to make their statement because times have changed. That's why, I always put you off, because I said, coaches don't want to hear something from this old guy that hadn't coached in 15 years, and so that's kind of why I always did that. And I always wanted to highlight our younger coaches, things like that. But
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Coach, my what I think made me a decent player was my ability to wear people down. And what I did is I wore you down. I just kept asking and we're finally here. But I do appreciate, and I really do agree with that from a culture standpoint, which is a buzzword that gets thrown around way too much. I asked Coach Fitch from Birdville, had him on a couple years ago. It was right after he had retired from 30 years. And that one of the questions is about how does culture drive performance? And he was like, Matt, we never used to use that word. We just did it. Like we all had a culture. We just didn't have to say culture. I was like, I completely agree with that. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here.
Yeah, I don't think I ever used the word culture. Back in those days, it was just a given that this is how we were going to do it.
Yep.
This is our program. This is what our program stands for, and this is how we're going to do it. But without even ever mentioning the word, I don't believe.
Yeah. I do think that, like discipline, the more you actually have to say the word, the less you probably have of it. The more we have to say culture. Do you really have it there? I'm not opposed to never addressing culture. I actually think that's our number one job, because it encompasses not just how we show up on the floor, but it's how we are in the classroom. It's how we are in the locker room. It's how we speak to each other. It's what our program actually represents. Like, we like to run and gun and shoot the three, but that's not what our culture is. It's how we act on the floor is a part of it, and how we play. But I think if we're setting up those standards and doing our very, very best every day to build on those and to live them out, then we don't have to culture on three. We don't have to have it shown all over the place. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but I think I would probably use the word today, because the youngsters today, there are so many outside influences on them, and they tend to get swayed. You know, a lot of times young people and a lot of older people, I guess, they want to hear someone tell them what they're doing is okay. You know, you're fine. You're okay. It's okay to not listen to your coach. It's okay not to play for the team. And I think we have to take all that, to us, as negativity out for your team and your program to be successful. And so that's pretty much my thoughts on that.
No, I think that's good. Let's see.
And getting back to some of those characteristics of a great coach, I was also thinking when I was looking over your questions, one of the other major tenets I always believed in was you have to show your kids that you care about them, how they're acting, how they're performing, not only on the court, but in the classroom. And I wanted to always let my assistants know that I cared about them, I loved them, but not only them, but the school, the staff, even the custodians. Because think about the custodians, they make everything work for you. And I wanted them to know we're all a part of this program, and a great coach, a great leader will let everybody know that if you buy into it, it will work. You may not always win, but you'll understand how to get along with people, how to lead people, and how to make adjustments when you need to. So that's another characteristic, I think, of a great teacher, leader, coach.
Coaches, we are all searching for ways to better evaluate players in order to give meaningful feedback. Over 15 years ago, I put together a test called the JAMODI skill rating. The JSR takes players through a series of tests involving basketball skill or athleticism, giving them one rating at the end. Their JSR rating will give you clarity on what needs to be discussed with players and parents on areas they need to focus on improving. I test our players at least 4 times each year. They're able to compete against each other, past players' scores, and most importantly, their past performances. If you'd like to start testing your athletes, email me at jamodipodcast@gmail.com for more information.
Coach, those some really good nuggets right there. I know I'm guilty of feeling like I'm on an island here within our basketball program. Or I think what we tend to do too is we build up our own castles. We build up our walls in our program, and we try to keep everybody else out, and whether it's other sports, whether it's teachers. And I think a great reminder that you just said is that we have to remember is I'm not just a basketball of faith. I'm a part of the Grapevine Faith faculty. I'm part of staff. And I'm a small part, let's just be honest, of the staff. So I can't act like I'm something different. And what do we want to mirror or show our players how they should treat each other? We need to be treating our staff the same way.
And I always made sure, Matt, that I tried to get the best assistant coaches that I could find, especially younger ones, because I wanted to try to help them and to teach them. They may not always agree with my philosophies on different things. I always try to hire the best assistant coaches that I could find, because I wanted them to learn what I had been taught, what I would be learning every day. And they didn't always agree with my philosophy on things, but at the time, it was my program. I was in charge of it. They were a part of it, and they could take from it what they wanted to. But as long as they were assistants for our school, then they would have to try to amplify what we were trying to do, because I wanted them to one day be a head coach, you know? And so I always felt like that was very important, to make them a part of the program and to help them learn and to grow.
What were some of the things you were looking for in your assistant coaches? Was it a good playing experience? Was it already coaching experience they had? Or did you take, not a gamble, but take some chances on guys that had neither or weren't really established yet, and you just had a good feeling? What were some of those things you're looking for?
It was always, from year to year, it was different. But my primary focus was I wanted a young coach, and preferably one that was a good teacher, a good communicator, and one that could still play. Because some of the drills I may not have been able to do, you know, at a 100%, like I could maybe when I was younger. And I wanted them to be able to showcase what our coaches could do And I wanted someone that had the aspiration of being a head coach, not just a career assistant, which if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I wanted someone to grow in a leadership capacity and to be able to lead young men.
I love that. And it reminds me a lot of Tommy Thomas.
Oh, yeah,
all of his assistant coaches, all of his assistant coaches that he had played pickup with us. Yeah. And I remember thinking as a player, like, man, how come they're all playing? Like, is that something they have to do?
Right.
But he was he was such a passionate coach.
Yes.
Loved the game, loved players. He was looking for people exactly like him. So I think that that's a really good idea. But then maybe, too, is we don't all possess everything. Like, I think I'm a pretty good offensive coach. I'm not a very good defensive coach, and I'm self-aware to know that. So I need to hire guys that maybe help me with some of those blind spots while they also have those aspirations themselves.
Yes, that's without a doubt. Very impactful. And Tommy Thomas, one of the great coaches. And the one thing that always stood out to me about Coach Thomas was his enthusiasm.
Yeah.
No matter where I saw him, what game I was watching, if his teams were playing, we worked a lot of camps together. And the thing that always stood out to me was his enthusiasm for the game and for people. You know, he's a special guy.
Yeah. He told me early on, he gave me some advice. He's like, don't ever forget someone's name. And I kind of like, what do you mean by that? He's like, if you meet somebody, you got to lock in their name and you got to just build that inside, like that Rolodex in your brain of knowing people, because in all of my years of getting to do this, I don't know if I've ever met someone like him that built relationships and real relationships with so many. But is that something that you just have, or is that something that you can learn and grow?
I think, Matt, it's primarily something that you just have in you. You genuinely love people, and especially you love kids, and you love to try to help them grow and to try to show them different things that they haven't seen, give them a different perspective on things. And I think that's what Tommy had and still has today. I talk to Tommy probably once every couple of months.
Nice.
And something you may not know, Tommy my wife just walked in, so that's what took my breath away. I'll let her hear that. That'll make that day.
We got that on camera. Your wife came in and she takes your breath away. That's good, Coach.
That's it. Hey, you're making my day here, Matt.
Let's go.
But one of the things I was saying about Tommy, you know what? I don't know if he wants this out there, but he funds a scholarship for one of our great coaches in the past. Every year, he sends us a check. Wow. Nobody knows this. I guess I put it out there now. But, you know, how awesome is that?
Yeah.
From someone that he learned from, someone that he admired, and he does a scholarship for him, and that's truly awesome.
That is.
I love that guy.
I'll text him and I'll ask him if that's okay to put out, and most likely it will be. But, that's really good. And one thing he did a really good job of is, over my 4 years with him, I'm sure he had bad days. We all were people. Yes. We all have bad days. But, man, he didn't show it. And that a passion, enthusiasm, he always showed up full. And I had one coach that on here say, as coaches, we can't show up empty for our kids. Over your long career, how did you continue to show up full for them day after day?
Well, I tried to stay up on all the latest things in basketball, and I tried to make them work for our program if I thought they were good. Every day, Matt, when I went to practice, I never had a bad day. We had some bad practices, but I never had a bad day. Going to school, working with different people, and that was always important to me. And I don't know, and I wasn't always the kindest person in practice, but I tried to let the youngsters know that it was primarily my fault that we didn't get something done today. And if you work a little bit harder, I'm going to coach a little bit harder. And I really believed in fundamentals. And, you know, that old saying, put the fun back in fundamentals. I thought fundamentals should be fun, but they were also necessary. And we started every practice with some type of fundamental drill that we would do. But I wanted the kids to know I was having fun in the gym. I wanted the assistant coaches to know we're going to exude confidence and we're going to exude enthusiasm. And that was very important to me. And if you talk to any of my assistants through the years, I think you'll find out that we would tell a few jokes here and there, and we would try to make the kids feel like they were very important. No matter if they were the 10th guy, the number 1 guy, we tried to make them all feel important, and they all had a role to play. And it was going to be a good day.
What's up, Coach? Are you looking for a way to elevate your off-season skill development? Well, look no further. With the Ballology app, you can build a workout with our library or create your own content. Send that workout to your players, and then your players complete the workout by recording their session on their phones. You can monitor and encourage competition with our leaderboards for every workout. Ballology offers player development solutions in the palm of your hands. Get your team started today by going to ballology.com for more info.
Now, it may not have turned out like that, but that was my goal.
We were trying for that. We're shooting for that.
Yes.
Coach, before I let you go, this is a speed round. These are quick questions. So many coaches know you, but after the speed round, they're really going to know you. Okay?
Okay.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla. Greatest
shooter of all time?
Okay, I don't know if you remember Freddie Downtown Brown or not. Dale Curry.
Okay.
And of course, his son now, Steph.
All right. So Dell Curry versus Steph Curry. Who wins that battle, or is it just a good fight?
Well, it's according if you're talking about mid-range or
off
outside.
The dribble. Yeah.
Yeah. Dale was primarily just a shooter. Well, Steph can do a lot more.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But those are two great shooters.
Best basketball movie of all time?
Blue Chips.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right, Coach, this is big. For high school, shot clock or no shot clock?
Our JBC is committed to getting the shot clock. We had our surveys. We did surveys for about 4 or 5 years.
Oh, I filled it out, Coach. I filled it out.
Thank you. I know our members voted 68% for the shot clock, opposed to 32%. So we're going to have the superintendents to do their own survey because, everything depends on what the superintendents say. They make the call on it. But we're finally to the point we had 84% of our coaches to respond to our survey, which the UIL helped us to do. Yeah. And that is the most we've ever had. And to get 84% of the people to do anything is awesome.
Yeah.
But so this spring, the superintendent's going to look at it and survey it. And I'm hoping that it gets passed. But one thing I'll tell you, I never told anybody what my feelings are on it. So I won't tell you either.
I was leading in. Come on.
I knew it. I saw you. Your eyebrows start going up. But
the JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
Because you answered it. You answered, well, this is what the survey says. And I'm thinking, okay, that's great. I already know that. What do you say? And then you got it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Coach, it's your episode. You get to choose. Favorite holiday?
Favorite Christmas.
All right. What book would you give someone?
Let me see. There are so many.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of Warren's book. That was back in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Rick Warren?
Yes, Rick Warren.
A Purpose-Driven Life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Two more. Favorite place to travel?
Vegas.
Nice. That's good.
Not that I'm a big gambler, but my wife and I, we enjoy plays.
Oh, yeah.
Theatrical plays.
A lot of great shows there.
Yes, and we enjoy those. And then we may pass through the casino.
You may just
and get pulled over to the side a little bit.
My wife allows me to have $20, and I get to play with that. And all right, Coach, probably the most important in basketball as a player, who is the GOAT?
The GOAT? Matt, you're killing me right now. Let me give it to you in phases.
Okay.
When I was a youngster, my favorite player was Wilt Chamberlain, then Bill Russell, then Oscar Robertson. Okay, those are three of the GOATs to me. Moving on became Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And now LeBron is in that range also. I would say those five people are the five best basketball players I've ever seen. And you know, you can go on and on and on. But to say one is better than the other, they all were great in different facets. And so I'll take the fifth and leave it right there.
There you go. Coach, why should somebody get into TABC if they're a coach in Texas?
TABC speaks for all its members. Just prior to the pandemic, we had over 5,000 members. This past year, we had over 4,000 members, and we're steadily, getting those people back. I think TABC promotes high school basketball. As you know, we have the showcases now for the boys and the girls. Those are ranked the top showcases in the United States, according to the college coaches. We have our clinic coaches. We pick, different coaches to present at our clinic. And say if a coach has a legal problem issue dealing with education or something on that job, we provide a free service for that. Wow. And Matt, I could just go on and on. All we can do. We have all region teams, all state. It's just amazing all the things we do, and we try to get the word out there that we would like to have our members. And for our members, if you're a member, you're able to go to our TABC Coaches Insider website, and they're able to get free videos. And it's just a lot of things that we can do, and that we do, and that we'll continue to do. We do Coaches of the Year. We do Outstanding Coaches. We have the Dean Weiss Outstanding Coach for the coach of the female basketball players. We have the Don Coleman Award for Outstanding Coaches for the male teams. And we have this year we have now 30 scholarships for students, 30 scholarships, and we just raised them to $1,000 each.
Wow.
And we have committees that do that. And I think we give back to all the communities in Texas. And we look out for the basketball coaches in Texas. Whether you're private school, public school, it doesn't matter. That's what we try to do.
And I do really appreciate that. I'm a public school coach at my heart at a private school. That's how I view myself. Yeah. But I see the value in what faith is doing and what we bring. But Coach, I want to thank you so much for giving up your time, coming here and talking hoops with me. I've always seen you at every TABC event. You're one of those guys that I've never heard somebody say, and I mean this, never heard somebody say something negative about. And I think that's a big aspiration for me as a coach, is I would love for other people to, at some point, reference or speak about me that way. Not that I won a bunch of games, but just in a positive way. And thank you for so much that you've done for the game, what you continue to do for coaches. This was an honor for me.
Great, Matt. I really appreciate that. And it means a lot to me. And I've always tried to carry myself in a way that people will respect me and what I'm trying to do and what we've tried to do. And I love TABC, and I love the coaches in Texas. And it's just been an honor to be on here with you this morning.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.